These are your top 5 Mario games of all time.
Boy. That's tough. Funny thing, I came up with a topic and I never wrote down a list.
Yep.
To be fair, I didn't really have time, but I will make my list now. I don't even need to look up games. I got this. Who wants to go first on this one? No one wants to go first. No one's prepared.
I will go first. I am
All
prepared.
right, Thunderstaff should go first.
Yeah, let's do it.
Shouldn't take me long, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It didn't take me long either. So
Like, when I really think about it, I got a top 5.
yeah, well, when you think about it, the 5, there's no second guessing here.
Yeah.
I'll go in order from oldest to newest. I definitely have one on the list from the NES era. That's Super Mario Brothers 3. This game is so special in so many ways. Probably the most special way is how it was unveiled in the movie The Wizard, starring Fred Savage and Christian Slater. Classic movie.
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo World Championships. I rewatched the end of it so I could get a few clips for my Nintendo World Championship review. And still, I was just like, man, this is so cool. Absolutely love that game. Then I got to go Super Mario World. Of course. Pack-in title with the Super Nintendo. Played this numerous times throughout the years. It's a game that I revisit. I wouldn't say on a regular basis, but way more than others that I just play through in a day. Absolutely love it. Now we're going to jump into 3D era with Super Mario 64. And Mario 64, of course, if you were growing up then and you were used to playing 2D games and you had never seen 3D before. And I say this because the younger generation has always known both 2D and 3D. We didn't know 3D. We experienced it for the first time. And I still remember it was June of 96. And I go to my local video game store, Gamers. And the guy who works there, Jimbo, tells my dad and I, we came there on a Friday. He said, hey, we just got the new Nintendo system in. And I was like thinking, okay, I have no idea what this is because I'm a kid. Nintendo Power wasn't talking about this stuff. Long story short, they got the Nintendo 64 in from Japan to rent out. They would get systems in from Japan on a regular. Remember when the Neo Geo came out? We rented it from there back in the day. And he said, nobody knows yet, and we haven't made flyers to advertise it. He said, you guys can take it home for the weekend free of charge, which is crazy. But he trusted us. We've been going there for years. He knew my family. And so I got to take home the 64 and play Mario 64. And the other game was called Human Grand Prix. It was an F1 racing game. So it wasn't like Mario and Pilot Wings like we got here in the US. Those were the two games. And so I got to go home and play Mario 64. Of course, it was in Japanese. And playing this for the first time was absolutely insane, especially because it was before anybody else. Like, I still remember going to school when school started that school year. I was in 6th grade, and nobody believed me. They thought it was complete BS. There's no way there's a Mario game where you jump through paintings. I'm like, dude, I swear to God. So obviously when it came out and was announced later that year in September, my name was cleared. But I have such fond memories of Mario 64. It truly did revolutionize gaming just like Zelda did on 64. Next is Super Mario Galaxy Part 2. And I love Galaxy 1 and 2, but if I got to choose one of them, I think 2 is a little bit better. It's probably the Yoshi factor as well. But man, those games were so much fun. They hold up so well. Even playing it now on Super Mario 3D All-Stars, the game is just still so good. It looks great. And I think it transitioned really well without the Wii controls. And thankfully, the last game is going to be Super Mario Odyssey. And I say thankfully because I'm not talking about all these games in the past, meaning like Mario has gotten better. And Mario Odyssey, in my opinion, is proof of that. That to me, as far as 3D Marios go, that is the best 3D Mario. And the future is bright, which I can't wait to see what we're going to have on Switch 2, especially considering I feel like there's a good chance it's either going to be a launch title or a launch window title, maybe that holiday title from Nintendo if it's not on launch day. And so I'm obviously super excited for that. But Mario Odyssey, man, that is just peak 3D Mario. And that's my top 5.
That's a good.
Hell yeah.
I mean, like when you go first, I mean, you get the bangers. Like it is what it is. Like I mean, everyone else's list is going to basically sound the same, right? Or not. No idea. Eric, you want to go next?
I can.
All right.
Gonna start out with one of my favorite games of all time, being Mario 64, because that was just part of my massive part of my childhood. Just spent hours upon hours just playing that game. Then the next one on my list here, this is actually really no full order, being Mario Sunshine. I know I played a lot of that with my friend Chris, growing up and stuff like that. A lot of these are on my list because of playing them with, or what, alongside of, friends, family, things like that. Mario Odyssey is my next one. Definitely, one of the best Mario games out there, in my opinion. It reminded me a lot of Mario 64, so it kind of hit the nostalgia factor, plus the different mechanics and things like that were just awesome. Next one on my list then is Mario Galaxy 1. I didn't really play 2 growing up. We had 1, and a lot of that was because I got to watch a lot of this is because I got to watch my sister play it, and she just absolutely loved this game so much. So I didn't really play it a ton, but because of that and me getting to watch her experience it and love that game, it is one of my favorite games. And then finally, the original Super Mario Bros. Just because it is where it started, and I've played many of hours with friends and family and everything like that too. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. That's kind of how my list was built, is where I've spent most of my time playing, and bringing back lots of memories of playing with friends and family. So,
all right,
nice.
There you go. See, it's a single player game. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
What are we talking about? It's all about the fam.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, I'm the best for last, so I'll go last. Paul Gale.
I'll go in reverse order, which it's going to sound weird giving the 5th one, because honestly, all 5 of these are like a 10 out of 10. So how do I sell the 5th and then only go higher than what I'm going to be raving about in the first place, But I'll kind of explain some reasoning. In 5th place is Super Mario 3D World. There's a little bit of a bias towards liking it before I even played it, and that's because I had an article back in the day saying that Nintendo's next Mario game is a 3D Mario game. And a lot of people said, no, duh. And I said, no, it's 3D Mario, as in it's a successor to 3D Land. And then people were like, oh, snap, you knew. I didn't see it yet, but I knew it would be of that style. So I already was like, I'm gonna like this because this is one of my scoops. But then the game came out, and sometimes in life a game pairs up well with what else is going on, right? Like you're graduating, you get married, you have a kid, this and that. My wife and I got married, and this game came out a few months later, and this was one of those early games that we played as a married couple, 100%ing it with every character going on top of every pole, getting every bonus, all the hard levels, all of the difficult stuff. So there's a lot of memories of us as an early young couple, few months in, playing it, beating it. I love the game. I mean, I love dogs and I love cats, so I liked that Cat Mario was a new inclusion. I liked the music. I was okay with the fact that the D-pad was not giving you full analog control, and if you used the analog stick, it still wasn't pure 360. We had friends over. We played 4-player Mario, which up until that point, the only time we did it was with New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which I also really enjoyed. But Super Mario 3D World was so good, and part of it was also that timing. Next up is a blast to the past, Super Mario World. It's so easy that I could say nothing would be done, nothing would have existed without Super Mario Brothers. Like that shook it. So I'll always give respect to that one. I mean, after all, it was Super Mario Brothers that I made into my Super Mario pool. I gave respect to the 35th anniversary of that game. That was the sprite that I chose to put in, not anything else. So I hold it very near and dear. I played games prior to then, but that's what like defined me. I'm a gamer for life was Super Mario Bros. But Super Mario World, gosh, it was just everything blown up from the 8-bit era. There's a lot of talk back and forth. My wife says Super Mario Bros. 3 is better. I say Super Mario World's better. I can't complain. It's like, dude, one's a 10 and one's a 9.99, or one's a 10 and one's a little bit better of a 10. Mario 3, fantastic. Andres, welcome. But Mario World, to me, the sprite, the Yoshi inclusion, the different colored Yoshis, the Warp Star Worlds, the different paths, the P-Wing power-up. I love the cape. The cape became my favorite way of traversing the skies. Dang. It was Mario 3, and then even more realized and showed this is 16 bits of power. So Super Mario World is number 4. Number 3, it's tough. I mean, I could go with Super Mario Galaxy, but maybe I will go with Galaxy 2 because of the Yoshi inclusion. But I'll always give props to Galaxy because it shook things up. It played with gravity. It played with physics. It made it different. But maybe Super Mario Galaxy 2 is the slightly better game with a couple of different Wii motion controls thrown in there and a couple of different alternate perspectives of how you could control Mario. So maybe it edges it out briefly, but there's stuff that both of them do slightly better than the other. The next one is tough because it was my favorite game of all time for a while. It still is one of the most impactful games of all time, and I have a similar story to Thunderstash, which I'll share mine just to show you how similar our stories are, and that's Super Mario 64. It revolutionized everything. When you were talking about it, it made me think, were we born in the same year? I was born in 83. How about you?
85.
85. So we're very close in that regard. I was an obsessed Mario fan at this point. And then Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, 3, World, Super Mario RPG, World 2, Yoshi's Island was all good. And then Super Mario 64 was blew everything away. I was an avid reader of Electronic Gaming Monthly. I would check out GameFan, Nintendo Power magazines, look at that controller, map out the controller or cut out the plastic, wrap it around my SNES controller, and hold it in my hand to envision what's this going to be like. An analog stick? 6 space buttons? What is this going to do to Street Fighter? You mean you could tiptoe as Mario? I was obsessed. I went with my dad to visit my grandma. She lived in Lameda, and close by was a city called Torrance. They had this Japanese import shop called Gameland. And I remember it was late June or early July of 1996. They just got it because it just came out. And I saw it there, and it was a feeling like, dude, you talk about core memories. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
And we had no incentive of buying it because I knew 3 months later it was going to come out in the United States. But like, yeah, I'm interested. Can I play it? And like, oh, dude, like a little 12-year-old me or barely turned 13-year-old me, depending on just what it was, because my birthday is July 7th. I got to hold it and play it, and like, just incredible. And then the game ended up truly delivering. These days you could be a modern 3D dual analog stick gamer, and you could say, oh, it's tough not being able to switch the axis on the horizontal. You couldn't do that. But back then, it was perfect. And it still holds up. It's still fun. I think the music is maybe the series' best up to that point.
So good.
It gave us Charles Martinet in gaming form, not in pinball or typing form, which you could debate. Well, that's kind of a video game technically, but it gave us a lot. That's my number 2. And it's tough to call this one number 1, but I think it beats it, and that's Super Mario Odyssey. It brought back Oh, the creativity that Galaxy had, because it gave you these 2D gameplay mechanics and these weird things. It gave you a lot of powers from different Mario games, but in a unique way. It let you play as Bowser. It had this ending, which was awesome because it played on the nostalgia of all that. It did things well by having old music and new tunes. It gave you quite some number of big worlds and a lot of different magical feelings of transporting to this and seeing that Princess Peach's castle for the first time in years and going back to that. I thought, and I love the Koroks in Breath of the Wild. I always find fun finding them, but the moons felt more significant, getting one than the Koroks, even though the Koroks, when people say, I don't like the Koroks, dude, I like the Koroks. I like busting out a round of Zelda 7 years later, walking in a straight line with my Kokiri mask, my Makar mask on, and finding a Korok. But the Power Moon was a different level of satisfaction, and also, once again, paired up with I'm a new dad now. I have my son playing with me, and this is his first. Well, maybe Super Mario Maker, he actually experienced a little bit as like a baby, but like his first time playing Mario and purposely taking my file and jumping off and like, no, you're killing daddy's coins. You're losing my stars. Ha ha ha. No, don't do it again. Don't do it again. Jump. Ah, no. And like all of that ties into and daughter being born next. And it's more than just that. But as a game, it is fantastic. But once again, it ties into something else. So Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario 64, Super Mario Galaxy 2, I think, Super Mario World, Super Mario 3D World. You almost can't go wrong. Like no one's going to have a bad list. It's just different types of great. I would be hard pressed to find someone that says that's a good list, but Super Mario Odyssey is trash, dude. How? Well, that's a good list, except Super Mario Galaxy 2, that game's a 7 out of 10.
I'm sorry.
Right.
The internet exists, man.
I mean, that's a wrong opinion. I'm sorry. Anyways, that's
the internet is filled with incorrect opinions.
We are incorrect.
Yeah.
Most
They're all over the place.
Great list, great stories.
Listen, you got some bad ones, but you're not as bad as the internet.
I don't know. I feel like I'm the captain of the bad sometimes. Let's go. Speaking of being captain of the bad, I'll give my top 5. All right. Gonna go in reverse order, starting with number 5, Mario 64. I don't really know that we need a lot of explanation. A lot of you guys have already said some very nice things about Mario 64. Obviously, yeah, okay, it was a really important. And people talk about the importance to gaming with it, but look, none of that shit matters to me. I'm the one playing the game. I don't care what it mattered to the developers. What it mattered to me. It was one of the, not the first 3D game I played, but the very first 3D platforming game I played, and blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. It set expectations, maybe at the time a little unrealistic, but it set it pretty damn high. Little did I know, like it's not my favorite 3D platformer, even from the N64 era. I'd probably give that to Conker's Bad Fur Day. But I love Mario 64. Eric obviously played a shitload of it. Him and I both played a shitload of it together. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's reminiscent of a age in my childhood. I mean, come on, 96. Heart of the 90s. I mean, come on. The 90s is fantastic. It's so fantastic. It keeps getting referenced in every popular movie because the 90s was awesome. And I got to live it. And this was part of being in the 90s. Everyone knew. Even though the N64 might have only sold like 36 million copies, don't matter. Everyone knew what the hell was going on with Mario 64 in the 90s.
Yeah.
The way it is. Awesome game. Next up, Mario Galaxy 2. I understand all the criticisms on why people think Mario Galaxy 1 is better. After all, Mario Galaxy 1 set the stage. It created the story, and it was the thing that had the original idea with all the gravitational changes. That's usually the criticisms of 2. 2 just copied the story of 1. 2 didn't feel as fresh. 2 added Yoshi. Yeah, but Yoshi was pretty badass in 2. Like, let me just be clear. Like, that was a good addition in 2. And I just think the level designs were, I understand, like, if you're really big into story and you love the story of Galaxy 1, Galaxy 2's story doesn't really feel unique or original. But That's not why I play Mario. I don't think I've ever picked up a Mario game thinking, yeah, man, story, let's go. No, I pick it up because the gameplay. And the gameplay is just better in 2 to me than 1. But I still love 1. I still love the original Mario Galaxy. But that's at number 4 for me. This is where things may get a little controversial and people might claim some recency bias. But at number 3, I'm putting Mario Wonder.
Oh, yeah.
Mario Wonder. So I've played a lot of the sides. I played every single side-scrolling Mario game. But and I played the ones that have multiplayer, right? Your local multiplayer. That's what they've had in the past. Local multiplayer. What really pushed this over the top for me is obviously I love the Wonder abilities, the Wonder Seeds, the power-ups they put in there. I love all the level designs and ranking the levels from easy to difficult. And actually, the rankings were correct. Whether it was a 1, a 2, 3, 4, like it was correct. They actually ranked them correctly. Like you could feel the difficulty go up. And some of the hardest levels in the challenge stages did feel actually legitimately hard. There's still one that I've literally only beaten because of the multiplayer they have, where I got popped after I should have not survived by someone else in the game. So one thing I do like about it, though, is its unique approach to multiplayer. Because while you still have your local co-op, you have this thing where online ghosts are obviously helping you out. And you can kind of help out each other through the level. And I didn't realize how much I was going to love it. Like when this was described before the game came out, I'm like, this just sounds awful. This just sounds like horrendous. Like why can't we just have proper online multiplayer? Why can't I just tell Eric, hop on your effing Switch and let's play together co-op mode? Like that, that's what a lot of people want. But man, dude, the way they did the multiplayer, and I'm air quote multiplayer, but they do help you. And it's funny watching like the ghost of someone who's playing with you will run by, they'll notice you're struggling, and they'll come back and just wait to help you out. I'm like, dude, this is sick. I really enjoyed I thought they handled it very well. It was a very unique with it because they could have just phoned it in and just went with online co-op, online play. And they didn't. They said, no, we want to try this new unique, and it worked, in my opinion. And it added to the game. I know some of you guys say, well, you're not a purist. Dude, because I'm playing Mario, man. I'm about having fun. You want to be a purist and solo everything? I don't give a shit, man. I'm about to have a good time. And Mario Wonder gave me a damn good time. And that was a very difficult addition to me because before this was Mario World, and Mario World is a very special place in my heart. And it took me, I replayed about half of Super Mario World 3 weeks ago. Because I'm like, God, do I really think Mario Wonder is like a better game for me than that? And it almost crushed my heartstrings to be like, no, I do enjoy Mario Wonder more. And that hurt to say out loud. It even hurts to say right now because I'm saying it publicly. It hurt. It hurt to bump Mario Wonder off bump Mario World off. Which, by the way, Mario World's in at 6. So like it didn't drop too far. And you might go, well, why would you bump off Mario 64? I didn't have the heart to bump off Mario 64. Let's just be clear. I don't know if I could ever bump that out of my top 5. I just can't. It's the 90s. And then I wasn't sure on Mario Galaxy 2, and I don't have a way to play it right now. But then I watched a video, like a Let's Play, just watching it. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Why did I ever have? There's no way. This should have been below Galaxy 2. But here's the thing. Shouldn't Wonder be below Galaxy 2 and below Mario 64? And the answer is no, because I think it's better than both. For me. Mm-hmm. I understand if you prefer 3D Mario, so obviously you would, maybe not put side scrolling up, but this one side scrolling, this one, yeah, it does it for me. Now, my number 2 game, I don't know if this is a controversial entry because it's a very specific version of this game, but Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, because it's a single release. Yeah. Now, look, I have really fond memories of Super Mario 3D World, and almost all of them come from the Wii U. Almost all of them. Similar to Paul Gale, my fiance beat the game with me. We 100%. Yeah, we collected everything. It was awesome. Yep. Like, that really added to the experience for me. Now, I did play by myself as well, and it was still really good. It still held up. Now, I already enjoyed land and everything, so I knew I was probably going to like this game, even though it wasn't the full, big, open sort of 3D game that people want. But, dude, 3D World rocks. And if you have a significant other or a good friend to play it with, I think I played a little bit with Eric as well. And I know it's new Super Mario Bros. Used a lot, so Eric actually helped me out on that game a bit. But like, yeah, man, I love 3D World. And then you toss on Bowser's Fury. I mean, what are we doing? What are we? It's open world Mario. It literally, that's what it is. It's open world 3D Mario. What? And it's good. Like I don't even care that the story doesn't really make sense and it's really weird. And you blow up and become a mega cat fighting, Gigabout. I don't even care. And I don't even care that it's not even that difficult. It's fun. And that's why I play Mario for fun. And like you combine those two together, I mean, come on. It at one point I had it number 1. But then I needed to record some Mario Odyssey footage for a video. And I see some of the people in the chat being like, oh, Mario Odyssey, almost overrated Mario game, overrated Switch game. It's fine that it's overrated for you. Because, look, how things are rated is up to the person who plays it.
Mm-hmm.
And while Tears of the Kingdom is my favorite game of all time, I'm about to say something that's controversial for myself. I don't know if it's controversial for anyone else out there, but for myself, because I've never given this to a game. Mario Odyssey is a 10 out of 10. And I don't even rank Tears of the Kingdom a 10 out of 10.
You gave it a 9.7, I remember.
Yeah.
You'd be right in line with Metacritic, so.
But this is about me. I have never given a game a perfect score.
Okay. It's
I'm
just
talking
not
about me.
controversial. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I said controversial to me. You didn't hear what I said. It's controversial.
So, I mean, you know that movie about the emotions that are like their own characters?
Yeah, the emoji movie.
So right now they're having like it's chaos inside your head is what you're saying right now.
Yes, because I told myself I would never give a game a perfect score because there's no such thing as a perfect game. And then I played Mario Odyssey. My favorite game of all time is not Mario Odyssey. It's Tears of the Kingdom, and I don't give that a perfect score. But this game, I can't think of a single thing it could do better. It is, and you might go, oh, 4K. Okay, it's the resolution.
Yeah.
What?
No, I do. I had someone tell me when I was talking about Mario Odyssey on a live stream. What do you mean you can't do anything better? It could be in 4K. I'm like, it doesn't make it a better video game.
No.
What are we talking about? If that's the nitpick, it's a 10 out of 10.
What?
So, for me, Mario Odyssey, and I understand it might not be for everyone, it has a sense of wonder to it, a kick of the nostalgia, combined with, to me, just perfect platforming.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually kind of like the story. Mm-hmm. And the whole ending sequence is my favorite ending sequence in any Mario game.
I almost never want to get rid of the Cappy. That Cappy mechanic to me,
it's
sorry to interrupt.
Feel weird
That's
to
really glider. It's
Yeah.
gonna be hard to go back to a 3D Zelda game without a glider to navigate the land. It was so much fun. And Cappy is kind of like that for Mario for me, where having something so quick and accessible to throw and to platform with and throw it, jump off it, pop, like that was.
I'm not even convinced that whether it's a glider or not, the next 3D Zelda game won't have a way to glide. We've been technically able to glide in Zelda for a while if you count cuckoos and other stuff.
Skyward Sword also had
literally, yeah. But obviously, Breath of the Wild made it freeform. Mm-hmm. Use it all the time, anytime you want. So I kind of get a feeling that I'm not so sure that we might be able to glide next Zelda game. I'm not so sure they're going to take that away, but we'll see. Maybe, or maybe they limit it more in some way. Maybe because of wind gusts or something. You can't use it all the time. But we'll see. Obviously, we have no idea. That game's so far out. It's hard to talk much about it. But
it's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, it's coming out tomorrow. That's what the headline's about, guys. Switch 2 is coming out tomorrow, launching with the brand new 3D Zelda game. So no, we I could talk about Mario Odyssey all night. Mm-hmm. I love this game. Yeah, it is gaming perfection to me. I'm sorry to people that disagree, and your opinion is correct for yourself. Mm-hmm. And in my brain, it is fighting against me calling it that. And I'm sorry. And my Zelda brain's like, what the fuck do you mean? I'm like, no, stop it. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't believe perfect scores have to be for perfect games because there's no such thing as perfection. But
that's me. I can't give a perfect score unless I think it's actually perfect. And no matter how much I love a game, no game's perfect. But then every time I replay Odyssey, there is not a single flaw in that game for my gaming taste. It does everything that I wanted to do and nothing more. And that
Is it replayable?
Yes. And I don't even like to replay games. And I'm saying that. For me, again, it's about my taste.
Mhm.
Now, the big thing about replayability for me is if it is something I'm going to replay, it's not something I just replay back to back to back to back to back. Wait a year, come back to it. Wait a year, come back to it. Yeah. So that's me. That's me. That's my top 5. So we have one person. I was supposed to be the best for last, but the best for last apparently is Andres Restart, the workout fiend.
Heck yeah.
What do we got going on, man? See, I had to almost replace you on the show with another workout fiend. That's why Paul Gale's here.
There must be one.
Technically here for my topic.
Paul Gale's in much better shape than I am. Yeah.
Paul Gale's in much better shape than I think most of the world.
Yeah.
Maybe not the top 1%, but most of the world.
Give me another year. I'm catching.
Challenge. The Paul Gale challenge.
I
All
don't
you have
like.
to do is not stop.
I don't like these. Yeah. I mean, pretty much. I try to do something every day. Go
Don't
to the gym
stop.
4 times a week. Play tennis or basketball. Do some rehab work. So, anyway, I don't like these lists because I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Mario 64. Like, I know I like Mario 64. I know Mario 64 has had a huge impact on my life.
Put it in there. Yeah.
What?
If it's not your top 5, it's your top 5.
Oh no, it's in the top 5.
Oh.
Yeah.
I just don't know what I put in as number 1.
Oh. Well, you don't have to give an order if you don't want.
Okay, I really don't. I mean,
It's hard.
to be honest. Even it's all of this is hard. But all right, let me just say what I'm gonna say. I like 2D Mario. I've 100%ed a few 2D Mario games, but not a lot of the older ones. Part of that is because of my age. I do have nostalgia for Super Mario World, but I haven't played as much of Super Mario World as I should. But anyways, I do feel compelled to put both Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Super Mario World as honorable mentions. They're not on the list.
Bless you.
Jeez. Man, I'm just allergic to all this bullshit. God.
Shit, damn.
Yeah.
You're the one talking.
I don't know, man. I like the games, but I can't put them in the ranks of 3D Mario. I normally would not put 3D World so high. Like, I don't think 3D World wouldn't be a top 5 game for me, but it put into that conversation when you include it alongside Bowser's Fury. Because all of a sudden, Bowser's Fury is like, oh, this is like fun, unique Mario gameplay. It gives me a little bit of that open adventure experience that I like about prior 3D Mario games. But then 3D World is still like, in terms of like the linear Mario experience, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just good.
That's
and
what people wanted it at the time.
Yeah, it just wasn't the right time for it, really. But man, this is tough. This is not even top 5 list. I don't even know how to do it. I don't know. I guess I'm number 1 is Super Mario Odyssey, which is weird. It feels weird for me to put it number 1 because I don't think I have the nostalgia to put it as number 1. But this is what I can say about Mario Odyssey. Like Breath of the Wild, whenever I turn that thing on, I just have a good time playing it.
Yeah.
It's always fun. And the mechanics in Mario Odyssey are so deep. They're so elaborate and sophisticated. There's so much you can figure out with this game. It's insane. Like, and that's part of, I think one of the cool things about both Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild is that both of these games, people have figured out how to exploit the hell out of them probably more than any other game during the Switch era. Like, if we're talking about the 2 top games and just in terms of like quality, critical acclaim, it is Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. Like, they're the 2. right? And they both came out in 2017, which is crazy. They were both up for, game of the year. Mario Odyssey could have won it, but Breath of the Wild was the more, I guess, innovative game, which, I agree with that statement. But yeah, I think Mario Odyssey is going to age really well because it's always fun. Number 2, and it just doesn't feel right to me. I really don't want to. I don't like ranking these things, man. I just know I like it. I just know I like all these games. That's really all I really know. Ask me tomorrow. This is going to be different. But number 2, I'm putting in Mario 64 because it has a nostalgia factor. It is revolutionary. It is still fun to play. I still enjoy loading up 3D All-Stars and playing Mario 64. As I do Mario Sunshine, which is in at number 3. I would put Mario Sunshine above Mario 64, but there's something in 64 does way better than Sunshine. It has a really good 120 stars. Sunshine does not have a really good 120 stars. A lot of them are blue coins that are kind of annoying. If it wasn't for that, if Sunshine had filled up, like instead of those blue coins, had like another world to get you to that 120 stars, it was like the others, it would maybe be like the second best Mario game ever to me. But it is a little janky. So I understand why maybe people wouldn't put in that category, but it's still really good. So Sunshine at 3. You're going to hate me for this, but I am going to put Galaxy 1 and 2 together. I just kind of blur them. The same way I kind of blur Breath and Tears, to be honest with you. That said, I really like the final secret level in Galaxy 2. Like, I feel it's more fun to 100% Galaxy 2 than it is 1. But they're both spectacular, and the endings are great. They're both awesome. I do kind of feel like when I go back to in 3D All-Stars, it's the way they kind of adapted the controls doesn't feel as nice as it was back in the Wii, but it does technically get the job done. And so then after that, I put 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. It edges out 3D Land, which I guess puts 3D Land out of the top 5. 3D Land I used to hold in higher regard than 3D World, but when you account for Bowser's Fury, it flips them. And so I guess that's my bullshit top 8 list.
All right. Yeah. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. I mean, look, it's hard to go wrong, guys. I mean, Mario's awesome. I think it's just
I've 100%ed all those games, just for the record.
Hell yeah.
I take that back. Not Sunshine. I haven't gotten all the blue coins.
It is annoying.
Yeah.
It is very
that's the one thing. I need to do that. But it's a chore.
All right.